when relatability sparks resonant truth. When I first noticed YouTube was recommending me as relatable to Carl Jung, something surfaced inside of me, and I'd like to express that because it was surprising to me. Mainly because I didn't go looking for Carl Jung. I wasn't studying him. I've never been influenced by him. In fact, I didn't even know who he was other than his name, and that he was a mentee for Freud at one point. I didn't resonate with his work at all until after I trusted myself and stepped into my own sovereignty. So there's another part of this that I'd like to add because it goes along with this and it's been present for a long time. My husband has been gently hinting for years that he sees something Jung-like in me. And I resisted that. Not because I didn't want to hear it, but because I wasn't willing to hand my identity to another person, no matter how respected or brilliant they were or are. I wasn't interested in finding myself through someone else's name. I've always desired to know myself deeply without reference. So it wasn't until my own self-trust was fully embodied that recognition could arrive without distortion. And even then, it wasn't identity. It was orientation. Transition, orientation, not explanation. And that order matters to me. Not philosophically or intellectually, but somatically. It's only from the inside of my own self-trust where I could actually see Jung clearly. Not as someone to follow or someone to emulate, but as a human being who was willing to walk into the psyche at a time when doing so came with real risk. Jung didn't just think differently. He lived differently. He legitimized the inner world when that inner world was still treated as pathology, fantasy, or danger. And I feel respect for that. Very deep respect. And from where I stand now, something else became visible. Not that something was missing, something untrusted. Because at that time it couldn't yet be trusted. Jung listened to dreams, symbols, images. He listened for meaning. What he didn't and likely couldn't fully articulate was feeling as orientation. So, something else stacked on top of that as far as clarity, after I sat with this. Jung was formed inside a highly structured intellectual environment, and then further shaped by early psychiatry, where distance from feeling was often necessary just to function. And in that climate, emotion had to be translated, contained, and made intelligible in order to be safe. My access came through the opposite conditions: chaos, trauma, and lived disorganization. These things didn't allow abstraction as a first language. They required me to learn how feeling moves before meaning arrives. So this isn't about depth or intelligence. It's about environment. Jung had to make feeling intelligible to survive his world. I had to make feeling livable. In most psychological frameworks, feeling is treated as material. something to analyze, something to interpret, something to understand. And I'm not saying I don't do those things. But what I know now, not as a concept, but as lived truth, is that feeling doesn't actually ask to be understood first. No. It asks to be trusted. Before an image forms, before a symbol appears, before meaning arrives, there is signal. Tightening, settling, pull, recoil, opening, closing. That's not emotional upheaval. That's direction. Jung asked, "What is the psyche saying?" I listen for, "Where is life moving? Right now, in the body." That difference isn't theoretical. It's orienting. And this isn't about saying Jung didn't go far enough. He went as far as he could in his time. See, then there was no language for interoception, no understanding of nervous system regulation, no cultural safety for embodied authority. He opened the door. Continuation, not succession. What's possible now is not hierarchy. It's sequence. Meaning is how my psyche integrates what my body already knows. Orientation before meaning. Signal before image. Body before story. And this isn't replacing anything. It's listening from inside the body. Because now, we can. And this is why I've sometimes felt a huge frustration, not just with people like Jung, but with any teaching that leaves people thinking they have to go at everything all alone. Because biologically, when humans get lost, we circle back to familiarity. If you were to get lost in the woods and somebody had a satellite video recording you, you would literally be seen walking in circles eventually. Because it is human nature for us to loop. When we don't know where we're going, we go to what is familiar. So we end up walking in circles. I don't like it when people deliver messages that seem to be missing context that allows us to get stuck in that trap. And I also respect that people do the best they can with what they have. My point is, we are wired for connection. And the last thing I want is for anyone to believe that sovereignty means that they have to be okay with never needing anyone. That is not the point. Ever. The point is to trust your own signal first and remember that we are human beings who find direction together. So if anything in this episode settled quietly for you, not in an excited or activated way, just settled. Like, that makes sense. That's the signal I'm referring to. You don't need to interpret it. You don't need to name it. Direction comes first.